Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Minnesota Haunted Podcast, coming at you out of the Minnesota Haunted Museum here in Brainerd, Minnesota. I would like to welcome our special guest for tonight. We've got Jason Hassler with us tonight. How's it going, Jason?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. Enjoying a Monday night here at the museum.
Yeah.
Might do a little... What's that?
What kind of things do you have at the museum there?
We got a bunch of like haunted artifacts and a bunch of haunted mirrors and haunted dolls and just
nice.
A collection of haunted items back there.
Nice.
It's actually pretty thick atmosphere back there tonight. We walked back a little bit and you can feel a little bit something back there tonight. So I might go and do a little bit of a walkthrough back there after we're done with the podcast here tonight and see what we get.
You never know.
Yeah, gotten some pretty good stuff from back there already, so we'll see what happens. So I figured tonight we just have a pretty open discussion, just let the conversation flow. We could talk about your introduction into the paranormal and what got you started, and we could pretty much go from there. So,
all right. Well, my introduction to the paranormal started a lot like most people as a child, having experiences as a child. We had lived in a haunted house growing up for, when I was probably, I'd say 7 to about 10, we lived in this house and it was extremely haunted. And like the family knew of it because it was a house that like several different family members had lived in over the years. And it was just kind of one of those known things that the house was haunted. Of course, they didn't tell us because we were kids, but yeah, we found out the hard way,
Yeah, we gotta learn for it. You learned yourself.
Yeah, like we'd hear like a man coughing at night in the bathroom, stuff like that. Yeah,
it's like the occasional footsteps, wrappings on the wall.
Yeah, my uncle had gone into one of the closets to change a light bulb in there once and couldn't get out. The door shut behind him and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, just little things here and there that make you think, yeah, there's something going on here.
Yeah. I think I probably would have kicked the door down. I don't want to be locked in the closet,
Right? Especially when you know something's going on. It's like, okay, what's about to happen right now?
Yeah.
So like how long did you live in that house for, like as a kid growing up?
I would say like 3-4 years probably, yeah.
3-4 years. And was it pretty natural, like over on occurrence of like things happening?
Yeah, and like for me it was like, because my parents didn't say, hey, the house is haunted to it. My brother and I, because we're just kids, they didn't want to, we had to sleep there, but we would see, learn on our own that things were going on. But for us it was always like, we're just kids, it's our dumb imagination, and that's pretty much what our parents would tell us too.
Yeah.
Oh, go to sleep, it's your imagination, like
your imaginary friend.
Yeah.
That's the thing that our parents always used to tell us that we had back then, was an imaginary friend for like paranormal stuff and stuff.
Well, as kids, like, we don't know that we're not supposed to see stuff. And then, so we do.
Yeah.
And then our parents are like, they don't want to either believe us or they believe us, but they don't want to talk about it.
Right. It's like, no, we may be kids, but we know something's going on right now.
Yeah. I always tease my mom, like, really, you wanted me to sleep there by myself, in the room.
Right.
Yeah. Also craziness.
So was that like your only, like, have you ever lived in paranormal locations after that? Like, did you guys ever?
I mean, I've always had different paranormal stuff happen to me, just like it's just kind of something that I kind of think once you have those experiences as a child, it can just kind of follow you, and so I've always had the interest, and of course I've always been looking for it. So when you look for it,
it makes you more sensitive to the paranormal when you're introduced to it at a young age.
Yeah, it really does. And
some people grows more with it.
Some people choose to ignore it and say, no, that's not, because whether it's like against their religious beliefs or it scares them or whatever, some people just move on from it. But for me, I'm one of those people that I have to have answers to everything.
Yeah. Well, it's having an inquisitive mindset.
Yeah.
Like about wanting to know more into what you grew up experiencing.
Yeah. And the funny
like,
thing
and what happens to us, like, after our current life, like, there's more after that.
I always tell people there's only one way to find out, and I'm not ready for that yet. So,
Right.
but like, the more investigating I do, the more questions I have,
Yep.
like I would say that I have proven to myself that there's an afterlife, which I couldn't do for anybody else, because you have to have your own experience. Your own awakening for that. But what that is, I don't know. I just know that it doesn't just go black, which is, a lot of people's fear, and some people hopeful for that, but like,
it just depends on what you believe in.
Yeah.
Like, and what you're set to believe in, what happens to you.
Yeah.
So I see that you are the host of a paranormal radio station, is it?
A paranormal radio show. It airs on KXRW 99.9 FM in Vancouver, Washington. It's called Hassling the Paranormal. And
Okay.
so I just, what I do is I bring different paranormal guests on and just let them tell their story.
So basically, like right now.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So last week I had Ricky Rocket from Poison, the band Poison, the drummer from Poison. I had him on because
no way.
So he's really into the paranormal. So I reached out, and and he came on, and I was kind of like, holy crap myself. But like when he said yes, I was like, sweet. But he was really cool. Yeah,
that's
because
awesome.
he's my paranormal team, Big River Paranormal, is the TAPS family team for the state of Oregon and parts of Washington and Idaho. So that's his. So Ricky is part of the TAPS team in California. So that's kind of how I found that out. So I just reached out and said, yeah. And for people who don't know what that is, it's from the original Ghost Hunters TV show, TAPS, which is the Atlantic Paranormal Society with Jason Hawes.
Yeah. So I was actually wanting to talk to you about that. Like, how did you branch into the TAPS team?
Okay, so what they do is, because they were getting so many, requests for help all over the country, all over the world, really.
Yeah.
They couldn't possibly respond to all those. Yeah. So paranormal teams can apply to be part of the TAPS family, and there's certain protocols and that kind of stuff. And Big River Paranormal was already part of TAPS when I joined, so I don't know exactly the process for that, but I know there is a process, and there are protocols that we have and different rules and that kind of stuff that we follow as far as like maintaining professionalism and with like, the amount of time we have to process an investigation and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And how we do things.
So like, have you had the opportunity to meet any of the original TAPS family members?
Yeah. I've met Hawes, and then every other year or so they do what's called a TAPS family reunion, and all the teams can come together. It depends on where, they pick a different haunted location. Like last year it was Gettysburg, and everybody just kind of gets together and hangs out and has a good time, that kind of stuff. So there is an opportunity for us to hang out with those guys, learn from them and talk to them and that kind of thing. But yeah, I didn't get to go last year because finances, but Ricky Rocket did. And I was looking at the pictures and I was like, why is Ricky Rocket there? So that's how I learned about it. I was like, wait a minute. And so I looked it up, and sure enough. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
So how long have you been a part of Big River Paranormal?
Since 2017, maybe. I think it's it's been like 8 or 9 years. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it a pretty good sized team, or how big is the team, would you say?
So we have a team in Boise, which Marie Johnston, she runs that. She's the executive director, and she's the director for TAPS. So she's I don't know how many people she's gotten over. I would say she's probably got like 15 to 20 over there. And then we just added a couple. So I'm thinking we have like 11 or something here in Portland.
Okay.
Yeah.
A pretty good sized team.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't need to be too big.
No, because it sucks because, as you know, like you go to locations that you can't take everybody because it's not big enough sometimes. And
it bleeds into the evidence and such.
Yeah.
You got more things to keep track of, more sounds.
Yeah. So then people get hurt feelings because they didn't get rostered and that kind of stuff. So it's no fun for me, but it is part of the process. So
yeah. So have you yourself like gone to like what's like the most notable location like that you've investigated?
For me, I've pretty much stayed local to the Pacific Northwest area because I haven't been able to afford to travel that much. So I've
Yeah.
gone to my favorite place is this place called Port Gamble, Washington, and it's
Okay.
up past Seattle. And the whole town it's the old mill town, and it's just a beautiful little town. And like almost every place there is haunted. They have what they believe what people claim to be Washington's most haunted house, and it's called the Walker Ames House. We've got some really good stuff there. Every time I go there about once a year and
Okay.
investigate with my team, and then they have the Port Gamble Ghost Conference there as well, so every year in November. So we go and have a good time over there, and that's a pretty cool place. Then there's the old Idaho State Penitentiary in Boise.
Okay.
Our Boise team does public investigations over there, so people can go and buy tickets and go on investigations with our team there and check that place
Oh,
out.
that's pretty nice.
That's an incredible place to investigate. Yeah.
And what was that? The Idaho State Penitentiary?
Yeah. It's like the old Idaho State Penitentiary. It's been closed since like the 70s, but yeah,
Okay.
they have like death row and everything there. It's can be a little, I
Pretty
thought it was going to
interesting
be,
place.
I thought it was going to feel like really heavy, but it really didn't. It felt like, like, I was like, why does it? It felt very home-like, and I was like, why? But then it like occurred to me that that's because that's where those people lived. They weren't going home, so they made the best out of it. It was their home, so
That makes sense, I mean, they spend
yeah,
so much time there. I mean, you kind of pick up on the feelings that they get.
yeah.
And then if it was like a good prison, like if they weren't like abused and such,
Yeah.
like then you're not going to get that heavy, thick, nasty
Yeah.
feeling.
I'm not sure about all that, but yeah, I'm as far as like, I know they had some pretty notorious prisoners there. They did hangings and all sorts of stuff there. And,
Yeah.
but as far as like treatment of the prisoners, I think that, they did everything by the book as far as I know, but
Yeah. Who knows?
yeah, you never know. It only takes one bad prison guard to screw the whole thing up.
Mm-hmm. So, like, have you gotten some pretty like good evidence from these locations? Like,
Oh yeah, we get, I always tell people if you get something on every investigation, you're not being skeptical enough. So I would say for my team, we would probably, if we do 10 investigations, we get something that probably once that we deem really good.
yeah.
And so like with the Walker Ames house, we did end up there getting we did get on video a man you could see leaving one of the rooms, the spirit.
Okay.
That was pretty cool. That's on our website. We've got quite a few EVPs there as well. We got one, I think this one's on the website too, where we got in there and a couple of our team members had never been there before. So it was one of their birthdays, so we'd gotten cupcakes to celebrate their birthday.
Okay.
So I was getting ready to give the newbies a tour that hadn't been there before the house because it's a huge house.
Yeah.
And but I was like, but before we do that, we have cupcakes. And you hear this man's voice in the background go, "Oh yeah," it's kind of funny. And I was the only guy there, so it wasn't me. So,
that's interesting.
yeah, we get all sorts of interesting stuff. We got one there. What we like to do is we turn on a recorder as soon as we enter a location because you never know.
Yeah.
So
you get anything anytime.
yeah, we have two of our investigators talking about where I wanted some of the equipment placed, and they're talking about it, and you could hear a voice say they're listening, which that one was pretty cool. So because I mean that place is investigated a lot, so the Walker Ames house, so the spirits tend to know what's going on now.
They got some intelligence behind them.
Yeah, they do, and they and it gets investigated a lot. So I try not to go in there and ask the same mundane questions that the other 20 teams that, like, when did you die? How did you die? How old are you? What is your name? That kind of stuff. What we like to do is just sit there and just have normal conversation within our team. And a lot of times what we'll get is, of course, if I was sitting in your living room having a conversation with my friends, you would join in, right?
Oh,
so, yeah. So that's one of the ways we get some of our EVPs that way. We find that
so you're not like forcing the conversation. It's just a natural, free-flowing conversation. And then if they want to talk, they talk in the background.
Yeah. I mean, we will obviously do the questions as well and
You're
do
just not
both,
heavy
but
on the questions.
yeah, we don't ask, especially at a place that's been, if it's a place that hasn't been investigated a lot, then we will do that and try to explain,
Yeah.
we always try to explain to the spirits what we're doing. Hey, thanks for
Mhm.
having us. This is what we're doing. Cause otherwise they don't know. Right.
Yeah. I mean, you got people coming into, I mean, your house that you're in
Yeah.
as a spirit with cameras and a bunch of equipment. I mean, they don't know what this stuff is. I mean,
No.
over time, they probably eventually learn.
Yeah. Depending on when they lived. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
That's
that's always
another.
been something like really interesting is if like I'm sure that they can because there is intelligence,
Yeah.
like they can learn over time what these devices do.
Yeah. Especially if you tell them,
Yeah.
because I
Like,
always try to tell them like this isn't going to hurt you, that kind of thing. Because you just never know. Because they would think, hey, maybe this is going to hurt me.
mm-hmm. And then they're not going to want to interact with you.
Yeah, because and then there's all sorts of things that I've learned over the years about that kind of stuff. Like a friend of mine, he's a local psychic here in Pacific Northwest area, and there's this house called the Ermitinger House
Okay.
in Oregon City. And in the Ermitinger House is where they believe that the name for the city of Portland came. And the way they did that was there was a guy from Boston and there was a guy from Portland, Maine, and they both wanted to name the new city after their cities. So they did a
Okay.
coin toss. They did a coin toss, and they believe that coin toss happened in the Ermitinger House. So it's a really historic house, and
That's
and
interesting.
they believe it to be haunted. So I hadn't gone in there before, and my friend William took me in there, and he just kind of let me check the place out and that kind of stuff. And afterwards, he was like, "So what do you think?" And I was talking to him a little bit, and then he says, "So who do you imagine the spirits are in this house when you imagine they lived?" And of course, back,
Yeah.
and so think about that when you're investigating, because that's the way you need to communicate with those people as the etiquette from their time.
Oh,
So
okay.
so like he said, I was wearing a hat. So he said, if you walked into somebody's house back then wearing a hat, that's offensive to them. So why would they talk to you? You're wearing a hat. That's rude. Or
Yep.
maybe if you know who the spirit is and you call them by their first name. We didn't call each other by our first names back then. It was Mr. and Mrs.
Yep.
So that's kind of some of the stuff that I've learned over the years doing this kind of stuff and working with other people, and the complete common sense things that we just don't think of.
Yeah. I mean, you put yourself in their time period where they're at,
Yeah.
and then you'll probably get more interactions that way too.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never really even thought of that. Like, because you think you just hear the stories and then you just want to investigate them, but you don't really
Yeah.
think to go and put yourself in their shoes. Like,
Yeah. That's
pretty interesting way to look at it.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons that doing a really solid historical report on the location is important. A lot of teams don't even bother with that kind of stuff, but we do. We get a
Mhm.
historical report so that way we know what the location's been used for throughout the years. We know if there's any deaths on the property, what kind of tragic events, maybe who own the property, maybe people who worked at the property, all sorts of stuff. So that way, if we get names and that kind of stuff through
Yep.
EVP, and then you got that on there, you can show the client, hey, this person may be here.
You can cross-reference your evidence
Yeah.
with the history of the location.
And that's a really cool thing to be able to do. It's
I mean,
rare.
when you investigate a location and like you don't hear names like prior, like if you that there's people that died, but you weren't able to hear their names at first,
Yeah.
and then you get their names and then you bring them up to the owner of the location and they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, hey, I've got this paper that has this name on there."
Yeah. So that's always fun to be able to do and scare people with that. I mean, our goal is to make people feel more comfortable in their location. But a lot of times when you bring evidence like that, where it's like undeniable, you have this EVP with this name and it's somebody that died there or something, people are obviously going to get a little uncomfortable. Maybe they're going to think it's really cool that we've had reactions to different people. We had this one guy, there was a place called the Pink House in Independence, Oregon. And it's this really cool house. They painted it pink and now it's a cafe. So it's a restaurant. And upstairs, there's this room that they said none of us like to go into. It's like a storage room. They're like, we don't like it in there. We don't go in there. So it was kind of funny because all we did was we just put a recorder in that room. And then what we like to do is when we set up, we like to go outside for a while and just kind of let things chill and then let the equipment just kind of chill.
Do its thing.
Yeah. So we're listening back and you can hear the door open, some footsteps, and somebody say something. We couldn't figure out what it said, but we could hear footsteps and then talking into the recorder. Ooh. And when so we showed that to the business owner. He was a Hispanic guy. He didn't speak English, but his daughter was there to translate. So he put the headphones on and he heard that. And all he could say was, no. And he just got up and left. He didn't want to hear anymore.
Oh, no.
So I was like, that's not what we wanted, but like, that's what he asked us to do, you know?
Yeah. I mean, if you're being asked to come into a location, I mean, it's not like you can determine what kind of evidence you're about to get.
Yeah, but like, we did reiterate that maybe there is something going on in that room for them to be aware of.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I don't think there was anything bad at that place. In fact, they didn't let us come back and investigate it again. I can tell you that.
It's just when you have stuff happen, it's like, okay, is this just in my head? But then when you're presented with the evidence that backs up what you've experienced, then you're like, oh, okay, no.
Yeah, it's like, the guy, all he could say was no, and he just got up, took the headphones off and walked out. We're like, it's kind of funny, but not at the same time. Yeah, like, oops. But yeah,
that's the thing with doing investigations is like when you're asked to come in and I mean, you don't want to hide the evidence from them. So like if you get something really, really terrifying or scary, like a scary EVP of a nasty demonic voice, you're gonna show that to them because you're not gonna hide that from them because then you want them to be known, hey, there's something going on here.
Yeah, you gotta take the next step, figure out what to do about it.
Yeah. Like, I mean, you can't tell them what to do. Like, and you can't tell how they're gonna react. You can just present what you've got and go from there.
Yeah, one of the things I like to do before I take on an investigation is talk with the client and find out what their expectations are. So if their expectations are something that I don't do, then I don't take it on. Because we don't do clearings, anything like that. Like if they want like somebody to help with that, we can point them in the right direction with a recommendation. But we as a team, we don't do that.
Yeah.
What we do is we come in, we try to find logical explanations for what they're experiencing. Most of the time we can. Sometimes we find what we believe might be paranormal. So that's where we're at. So most of the time we find things that we can just explain whatever they're experiencing away. And a lot of times they're good with that. A lot of times it makes them angry because a lot of locations want their bar or whatever to be haunted because they want to market it that way.
Yeah.
We had a place in Aberdeen, Washington called Billy's Bar and Grill. And they marketed their place. Billy was a serial killer in Aberdeen. So they named the bar after him. The building had nothing to do with him. It's just, I don't know, they just marked it that way. But the building did have some history. It was like a brothel at one point. Mm-hmm. So they did have some stuff up there, with that. And they told us every night when we're cleaning up, we hear a woman laughing in the woman's room. We're like, cool. So we're setting up. They're cleaning up as we're setting up, and we hear it. So Sarah, a teammate of ours, she's not on the team anymore. She's passed away, but Sarah and I, we go into the women's room. We're standing there trying to figure out what this noise is, Mm-hmm. And pretty soon we hear it again. What it was is they had one of those automatic air fresheners, and when it went off, it kind of squeaked a little bit. So outside of the bathroom, it sounded like a giggle or something. And when we presented that to them, they were not pleased. They were like, no, that's not it. Yeah, that's you. A minute ago, you said that was it. Yeah.
Those things make a weird hissing sound.
Yeah, and it kind of squeaked. It kind of made this squeaky noise. It was kind of funny because we're like, hey, that's easy. That's an easy one.
Yeah.
And most cases are really easy, whether they be a client issue or something completely logical. Because people watch too much Ghost Adventures and scare themselves.
Or they just have an overactive imagination.
Yeah. We always know if we walk into a residential and they've purchased their own equipment, like they have their own K2 and stuff, and the Ghost Adventures is on the TV when we show up, we know exactly what's going on. They watch too much paranormal TV.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Turn it off for a little bit.
Yeah, that's what well, we had one lady, she had her own K2 and she was walking around with it going, look, it's going off. But she had it on top of her cell phone.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. So I said, ma'am, go ahead and put that on the coffee table. We'll see what happens. And of course it didn't go off anymore. And then, she was getting all mad, but like,
sorry.
I was like, it's not a demon's text message,
Yeah, no, if you don't know what you're doing, I mean, you pick up one of those things and you walk through like your kitchen and it's going through the roof and you're just like, oh my gosh, there's spirits everywhere in this kitchen. No, there's electrical appliances everywhere in this kitchen.
Yeah. It's funny to have to explain to people that kind of stuff because they don't, especially like in basements and stuff with it. You got really high EMF. Everybody's like, it's a basement, so you feel creeped out anyway. Mm-hmm. And then you get EMF that makes you feel, if you're sensitive to it, makes you feel funny. And then and people, they like to, they don't like to hear the truth sometimes, but it is what it is. It's not a ghost. It's just high EMF.
Not every location is haunted.
Yeah, I mean, probably is, but that doesn't mean they're going to talk to us.
No, I just mean with your case where the person had ghost adventures on their TV.
Yeah. We ended up having to leave there really quick because she's doing that. And then the mom sits down on the couch. Mom's on oxygen because she has some breathing issues. And she lit up a cigarette while on oxygen. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was just me and this other team member, Stacy, because it was a small house. And we kind of looked at each other. We didn't even put our stuff back in the boxes. We just threw it in the truck and we're like,
we're just gone.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yeah, we're just like, we gotta go. That's not safe. Good luck to you.
Yeah, there's I don't know what to do here, but we're done.
Yeah, it was already sketchy anyway because it was kind of like some of the house was like a hoarding situation.
Okay.
And I was like, we're not going to go into that area because it's not safe, but we can maybe investigate some other. And then when she lit that cigarette up, I was like, nope, we're out.
Yeah, that's a bit crazy.
I don't want to blow up today. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
It wasn't haunted to this now.
I don't want to become what I'm trying to search for.
Yeah. It's like no more spirits needed in this house.
So have you gone to many locations where a lot of stuff you've been able to disprove?
Yeah, most stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Most places. We had, let's see, let me think of some example. We had one lady, she called us and she was having really bad at night. She was seeing a man in her room. She was hearing voices, seeing people in the hallway by her room. Her ceiling was bleeding, all this crazy stuff. So we go out there and we go into her bedroom, which is where all the activity is she's seeing. And we go to her bed and there's an alarm clock next to the bed. And this thing is pegging out our EMF detector.
Okay.
And her bedroom was also up against the wall. Her bed was up against the wall and the garage was on the other side. There's this water softener thing that was just pumping EMF through the wall too. So that was just pumping into her head all night long. And apparently she was really sensitive to it and it made her hallucinate this stuff.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, it was bad. We're like, if you get a new alarm clock that's not from the 70s and move your bed to the other wall, you'll probably be okay.
Yeah.
And, she did that and that worked for a while, but she got herself so scared because of the things she saw these things, even though she has a logical explanation for it, she couldn't get past it. And they ended up moving out of the house.
And when you get them high EMF fields, and if you're sensitive and you don't know it, that stuff can really mess with you. Yeah.
It can make you feel sick and hallucinate and everything. People don't even realize it, especially stuff like that. It's I thought it was pretty cool case to hey, we solved this. And it was funny because her partner, he slept in a different room. We don't know why. That's whatever the relationship was. Mm-hmm. But he knew exactly what was going on and had told her that because I guess he was a scientist. I don't know what kind of scientist he was, but he told her this and she wouldn't listen to him because it was just, that's her husband. What does he know?
Yeah.
So as soon as we said that, he was just over there with a little grin.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and if you don't want to believe that kind of stuff, I mean, you really need to know, like, and that's why it's best to, like, if you know about that kind of like EMF draws, like if you go into a new place, it's always best to take a meter and run
Yeah.
it through the house.
That's the
Like
first
take
thing
a
we do when we get to location.
because you want to get that rundown of that baseline.
Yeah. We do that and take pictures and all sorts of stuff. So it's a quite the process sometimes. We got it down to a science now though, for the most part. But
Yeah.
the only thing I hate doing is mapping. I don't do the mapping because I can't even draw a circle myself. It would look like so, but we do have this lady on our team, Erin. She's really good at it. So we always make Erin do it when she's there. But when she can't make it, I figured out, because being the director, I'm like, okay, who's made me mad this week? Okay, you're mad.
Right.
Like, yeah.
So like you, like for like you said mapping, like that's where you just go draw like a floor plan of like.
Yeah. And we put things on it like where like electrical outlets are and power boxes and where we put our equipment and windows and doors and all that kind of stuff. Just so we know. Yeah.
I don't think we've done that. I think we might actually try doing that. That would make things easier to navigate.
It does. And then it also gives you like reference to look at when you're reviewing, like, okay, where was this at? Like, where was this recorder at? Because we always mark down where we put all of our equipment on the map. So that way we're like, hey, okay, so now we know what this was in association with where people were and where that kind of stuff happened. And it just kind of helps you with review and all that kind of stuff too.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is,
you know where people were at certain times. And
if you go to like a historic place, a lot of times they already have them. So you just take a picture of it and you're good to go.
Yeah. Then you can just mark it.
Yeah. So that makes it easier.
So what's the most famous location that you've been to? Would you say?
Probably the state pen in Idaho, probably.
The Idaho State Pen?
Yeah.
Did you get some pretty good evidence come from there?
The Boise team has. I haven't had any. I had a personal experience there, but I haven't had. Yeah, I was there's one area where they like did the laundry area, and of course I'm in there and it's completely dark. You know, we're in there, we're just hanging out doing recordings and stuff.
Yeah.
I keep feeling this cat like rubbing against my leg, but I can't find the cat. You know, I'm like, what the heck? Yeah. So I was like, I asked one of the Boise team members, I was like, is there a freaking cat here? And she's like, come with me. We walked behind the building and there was a grave of a cat. So there was a cat. Yeah, there was a cat that used to live in the prison and all the prisoners loved the cat. So they had when it died, they buried it back there. And the grave so that was just kind of was like, oh, that's really kind of a cool experience to have had.
That is pretty interesting.
Yeah. And then there, like, I was in one of the cell houses and like, we don't go up to the top ones in some of the room because it's just not safe anymore. So
yeah.
So we're down
like crumbling and falling apart.
Yeah, in the like the stairs and stuff to get to them aren't safe and stuff. And so I'm down at the bottom, and you could hear people like moving around and like walking up there, and nobody's up there. That was pretty cool. That was pretty cool for me. I'm like, most people would run. I'm like, hey, this is cool. Like,
that's what I'm here for.
Yeah, it makes me so mad when people do that because it's like, yeah, the people like they should, like you see on the TV show, they'll go up there and they'll call up the spirit and it shows up and they're like, crap, and they run off. And yeah.
Well, it's funny because right before I came down here, I was watching Ghost Hunters and I was watching the Eastern State Penitentiary episode where Brian and what's his name, the camera guy, they ended up getting scared by something that they saw and they ended up running out of there saying, dude, run.
Yeah. Yeah, we try very hard not to run because it's dark and you just never know. But like, I would run from like, if you see me running, it's because I saw something that wasn't a ghost. It's like, was it like some wild animal or something?
Yeah,
or a bat or something.
Like something of this world.
Yeah, because I mean, like to me, like if it's a ghost, that's what we're here for.
Yeah. Hey, it's funny when you're a paranormal investigator, you're more scared of things that are in the real world than things that are in the paranormal world.
Yeah. I tend to find it easier to hang out with the dead than the living sometimes. So.
Right. That's funny. So, like, how many different TAPS family member are in like other states? Like, are they
Um,
like all over at like every state?
y- um, I don't think all 50 states has them currently, but most states do, and
Yeah.
some states have more than one, just depending
Okay,
on the
so you can
section.
have like multiple.
Yeah, like Washington, my team takes this like the Southwest Washington, and then there's a team Whisper. They're up closer to Seattle, up north, so they take cases up there, and sometimes we
Okay,
work together on those and that kind of stuff. So
right on. So, being from the Pacific Northwest, I got to ask: have you ever gone Bigfoot hunting?
I have.
Yeah.
I have a few times, and then I had this really cool thing happen. I was they had what was called the Mount Hood Sasquatch Fest last year.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the locations up there called the Mallard, which is a bar, is haunted. They believe it to
Oh.
be haunted. So they had my team come up before the festival and do an investigation there, and then they had me do a presentation at the Bigfoot Festival about what we found. So I got to go up there and meet all these cool Bigfoot people like Cliff Barackman and Jeff Meldrum, who just passed away, and then like I met Mark Marcel, and Mark Marcel and I became friends like instantly. And Mark Marcel is, I don't know if you ever heard the Ape Canyon story, but
I don't think so.
so here in Washington, we have Mount St. Helens that erupted in 1980.
Yeah.
So in 1924, there were some gold miners way up Mount St. Helens, and they were mining for gold, and they built a cabin up there. It's really hard to get to, so they had to build a cabin so they could stay there. And they were witnessing Sasquatch. They were seeing Sasquatch. But of course, back then they called them the Mountain Devils. They didn't know what they were, so that their reaction was like, let's shoot these things, you know. So they did. They shot at them. They don't know if they hit them or anything, but that night they were in the cabin, and they claim that like a group of Sasquatches attacked the cabin with rocks and whatnot.
Oh, geez.
And so they had like the shoot. They were shooting out the cabin and stuff, and they swore not to tell anybody. But they were like, when we get out of here, you know, when sunlight comes, we're getting the hell out of here. We're not coming back.
Uh-huh.
So of course they do that, but then they get down to the town, and they stop at the bar and they get a couple drinks in them, and they start telling people this story. So the story's been passed down for a long time, and this guy Mark Marcel, a friend of mine, he gets really interested in this story, but his thought process is, this is a cool legend, it's a cool story, but that's all it is.
Yeah.
So he said, what if I could find the cabin? So the main problem, so Mark is a land surveyor by trade. That's what he does. So he's good at that kind of stuff. So what he does is, he had one problem was, of course, the eruption in 1980. Does the cabin still exist?
Yeah.
But the reports of where the cabin had been like that spot was, most of that was okay. So there was a good possibility that it was going to be all right. So they had pictures of the cabin and all that kind of stuff the guys had taken of themselves there. And so he was able to look at like the tree stumps that were from the trees that they cut down. The area was never logged because it was way too far in. So the tree stumps that they were able to cut to build the cabin with, he found those. He's like, okay, he went up there and they found, because he's like, if we find tree stumps, this is probably it, because nobody's up here cutting down trees.
Yeah.
So it took him a long time to find it, but eventually he does find this. And then of course he's got his metal detector, and he starts finding things like shell casings and pieces of like a saw, and things like that. So he did find where the cabin was at.
Oh man.
Yeah. So they at least can collaborate that part of the story. So they just did a documentary about him last year called The Siege of Ape Canyon. So it's a really cool documentary. We just watched it yesterday at this event that I do called the Paranormal Pub in Vancouver. Each month on the second Sunday, I have a different paranormal speaker come to the bar, and talk about different, whether it be aliens, UFOs, Bigfoot, whatever, ghosts, just whatever their expertise is, they talk about it. But he came in, talked about the Ape Canyon story, and then we watched his documentary, and it was pretty cool. But when it comes next spring, he's going to take me up there.
Oh.
Yeah, and not a lot. He doesn't tell a lot of people where it's at. It's not easy to get to, but we're gonna go up there and just kind of hang out and just kind of see what we can find. There could be nothing up there now. There could be, because the eruption, could have killed all the big stuff
Uh-huh.
it was. But yeah, I've done some like I don't really know what I'm doing when it comes to going bigfooting, but I've done it and gone out. I've talked to Cliff from Finding Bigfoot a few times. I had him on my
Hmm.
show, and he's giving me some advice on what to do. And basically, what he says is just like camping with a purpose. You're just out there
Yeah.
camping. Yeah,
That's what
but
I was
yeah,
gonna say. It's just like basically hiking and camping.
yeah, and
Except you're randomly shouting like a Bigfoot.
yeah, and whether or not you want.
You know?
So, do you know Ron Moorhead? Uh,
I don't.
So Ron Moorhead, I don't know if you ever heard the Sierra sounds. So there's
Yes.
yes, okay. So Ron Moorhead is the guy who recorded those back in the 70s.
Okay.
So I had Ron on my show to talk about. That was really cool to have Ron on because he's like this Bigfoot historian guy,
Yep.
So my brother and I got bored one night and we took some equipment because we have some DJ equipment. We took it up in the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
We hooked it up in the middle of the mountains, in the middle of nowhere in Washington, nobody for miles.
Yeah.
And we started playing these vocalizations that the Sierra sounds really loudly. And we got responses that sounded like that.
No
So
way.
that was, yeah. So we had no idea what it was. We didn't see anything. We don't know for sure. But then
You just caught the sounds.
yeah, we could hear things responding. And then so we're getting ready to leave. And my brother disconnects the wire from the amp. And of course it does the pop noise, like, and then we hear this growl that was really close to us. So we decided at that point, I mean, we're shining our flashlights. We can't see anything. We don't know if it's a bear or what it is, a cougar. We had no idea. So then we're like, crap, now we have to like pack this stuff up. So he's like packing it up. I'm standing there with my gun, like looking around like, oh crap, we're going to die.
Oh man, what's about to happen?
Yeah. So yeah, we got our stuff thrown back in the truck and took the heck off, but it was a really cool time.
Yeah, I've never gone officially like Bigfooting myself. Like I've been out at my grandma's. I've seen what I will say was a Bigfoot till the day I die. I was putting a piece of wood in a wood stove out by her garage, and I look out across this ravine where there's a bunch of shrubbery and there's a tree line. And all of a sudden you see something get up, and I would say probably from where I was, it probably looked like 8 to 9 feet tall, and just started walking along the tree line.
Wow. Did you get scared?
It was too far away. I couldn't like really get a good detailed look, but like I know I seen something big.
Huh.
And I don't know how long bears can walk upright on their 2 legs, but
I mean, they can. I don't know how far they can do it, but yeah, I mean, that's probably a lot of Bigfoot sightings is probably misidentity. But sometimes, like I'm still kind of in the I got to see it to believe it kind of thing, and I haven't seen one. I mean, I heard some things in the forest I can't explain, but that doesn't mean it's a Sasquatch, I'm like,
yeah.
But
It's something you got to see visually with your own eyes.
And I know a lot of reputable people that I trust that have said they've seen them and have all sorts of cool stories and stuff. But then you got the whole, what is it? Is it like this mammal, like this wood ape that's just out in the Pacific Northwest? Or is it a spirit, or is it alien? Like everybody has all these different kind of
different theories. I've heard them all.
Yeah. It's funny because like Cliff from Finding Bigfoot, he doesn't even want to discuss it being a paranormal, Bigfoot being paranormal. It's just an animal in the woods. It's not, he doesn't even want to discuss it, which is his process. And, I would tend to agree that if there is something out there, it's probably just some mammal we haven't got our hands on yet.
Discovered yet.
Yeah. I mean,
it's kept its way out of the public eye for as long as it could.
Yeah. And like the Native Americans here and all over the country have told stories of the same creature for hundreds of years. They had to have been seeing something.
Oh yeah. And all over the world too, like the Yeti.
Yeah.
The Yowie in Australia. I mean,
well,
there's probably some on every continent.
The Yakima tribe here in Washington claims that back in the day they had one that they lived with.
Oh.
So I don't know the exact story. I have to look that up, but I was reading about it. Well, it was just part of their everyday life.
Certainly something to go and look into, because that sounds pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Like hearing legends like that and like hearing the backstory behind that. I mean,
Yeah, I thought about like trying to find somebody to have on my show talk about it, but I haven't looked into that one just yet. But I probably
Yeah.
will.
It's a work in progress.
Yeah.
Well, Jason, it looks like we're about 8:45.
Yeah.
So, would there be any websites and stuff that you would like to throw at our guests that they want to
Sure.
check out?
Yeah, you can go to bigriverparanormal.com and you'll find all of our cases that we put online. We don't put residentials online; those are all confidential.
Yeah.
But everything we do have online, we have sign waivers from the places because we give them the option whether to put it on if it's a commercial location or just keep it confidential. And so everything we have on there is
And
is
that's where your like evidence
yeah,
and such
yep,
is?
yeah.
Okay.
You'll just look at investigations. We got Boise stuff, we got Portland stuff, we got all sorts of stuff. And then if you go to Hassling the Paranormal, if you Google that, my show page will come up and there's a bunch of different interviews and stuff there, and you can check out my show.
Hassling Paranormal.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
I'm also on Facebook at Hassling the Paranormal as well, if you want to come check that out.
Yeah, I will certainly come and check that out. And if any of the viewers watching would like to go and check out his stuff and give him a follow, or just give a check out and see what you can find in there and see if you find anything interesting.
If you have any questions, hit me up. All that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Right on. Well, Jason, I would like to thank you for taking your time tonight for joining us tonight on the podcast
for
with
sure.
me.
Thanks
It's
for
been
having
a
me.
great time getting to know you and your backstory and all that. So
Yeah.
we just want to thank you for coming on, and I hope everyone has a good rest of your Monday night, and we will catch you guys later. See you guys.